Hi everyone, I'm Nana Carrillo, and today I'd like to show you some work that I started yesterday with pan pastels. And if you haven't tried pan pastels or don't know what they are, they're a quite soft and spreadable pastel that isn't in stick form, and I'm going to show you right now. Let's see, there you go. They come in little pots of all different colors, and you can put them in a plastic tray. And the pan pastels are so beautiful because you take soft sponges like this. Mine's a little dirty because I used it yesterday, and a little sponge on a tip of a plastic knife, a palette knife kind of thing. And then you simply pull up the pastel and get it on your sponge and then rub it over the areas you want in your painting. And I did this yesterday. I'm going to show you the landscape that I started yesterday, and it's actually just an underpainting. That is the beginning of what I'm doing. I'm trying to establish my largest shapes and where my lightest lights are and some of my darker tones. And I did it all in pan pastel, and I just started to put on a little bit of regular stick pastel in the blues in the sky. So today I'm going to add more stick pastel, which is a little bit harder, and it's going to show more texture in the painting. But I wanted you to see how you can work an underpainting with pan pastels, and because they're so soft, when you add the top layer on, sometimes you can get an effect that's really cool, which is a blending of the different tones, which is what I did in the background here. Now, the photograph that I took this from is this one, and I'm not trying to make the painting look just like this photograph because this is a bright daylight photograph. And I wanted a more moody late afternoon effect to this with the kind of pinks and warm peachy tones in the background. So now I'm going to start with some of the other areas and start defining them. So here in the front we have a little bit of the grasses and deeper, richer tones that come forward as you're walking into a field or a landscape. And up front is where you're going to see most of the warmer tones, like the dark browns that start coming up. I'm going to add some of the green tones that come into the edges of the grasses that are along this road. Kind of a neutral green that is Terry Ludwig. These are, I'm going into more of my dark tones now. What I love about pastel is you can always spread it, soften it, layer it. You can turn it into, you know, if you find yourself doing some mistakes in your texturing or you're laying on a color, you can always work with that and build up over it. Now the road is moving out into the horizon, and in that horizon I really would like to put a few little buildings or buildings protected by trees, just something that suggests buildings. And so I'm going to use some pale colors, but I'm also going to use, I think, a tone that looks like a red barn or a red roof to a house. Now, as I come to the trees and hillsides, countrysides that are uh, behind and around the little village at the end of this road, I'm probably going to use a purple tone over the gray blues that I have here. And it may be that it blends in later on to what I'm going to put according to how I finish the sky. I'll add some tones with that. But as you can see, what purples do is they help set back the scenes in the distance. Atmospheric perspective. And as we're working with, scenes that have backgrounds that diminish into the distance, we really want to not make things super exact. We want to make things suggestive of what might be out there. So you want soft definition to the tree lines. There we go. Okay, so now you have a sense of that. Since I'm using a purple for that, I'm also going to try to get a little bit of this shade of purple into the sky. And we're also going to see in the sky some of the reflection of the colors of the fields. Now with these clouds, you want to make sure that you get some edges that are strong and exact, but most of it with clouds is going to be a little bit delicate and soft. So I do a bit of smoothing and feathering of edges with my clouds. Clouds do have bottoms, they have edges that recede. They kind of layer on top of each other, as you know from staring at the skies. So what I'm trying to do right now is make them also look diminished in the distance, as clouds tend to move away from us as they layer up. And since my focal point is right down here at the end of the road, it's also, I'm going to bring in more of my whitest whites here and the darkest dark so that it all kind of lines up. And then as you can see here, there's kind of a light line that then I'm going to stepping stone it with my lights down into the village a little bit, not too obviously. I'm going to soften it. One of the things that I like to use for my painting are these little soft styrofoam packaging materials because they're they're blendy. You can easily blend what you're doing with pastels with them so that you get a subtle, soft effect. And with clouds, you don't want any lines that are hard and harsh other than real specifically. Like for instance, at the bottom of this, there might be a little bit of a line that could be harsher, and over on this side. Now I'm gonna work my my whites a little bit more. This is a good blue tone that it's a white with a blue in it that can be good for clouds. There. I have some white on the clouds over there. And the thing to remember about clouds too is that they overlap each other. You know, the little wispy edges kind of fall over into other clouds. So you can have fun playing with that. And you know, you definitely need to use your finger to bring the wispies in. I'm also going to get some warmth into these clouds. You need not only the cools, and I do have the warm pinks underneath, but a little bit of gold light touched here and there might add some beauty to it. So I'm going to use one of my warm whites like this. has some yellow in it. And I think I'll just pop that right in here. This is a Sennelier, which is very soft. You see it gives you the sense that these clouds are overlapping the other clouds. And there's some grays in the clouds too that I don't want to forget. Clouds really do reach out all over the sky. So let's see, the grays are really, really soft. So I have this wonderful set of, it's called Thunderstorm Grays, and this is from Great American, the Mount Vision Pastel Company. I don't know if you can see how beautiful all these tones of gray are. There's blues, there's pinky grays, there's some greeny grays. It's really beautiful. And here's a good gray tone. It's a little bit purple, looks a little darker than it actually will come out to be. And this warmer gray actually is very nice for adding the warmer earth tones to the painting that reflect up from the land. And then I can also add these warmer sky colors that then do on this, you know, next to this color down here, they do look grayer and cooler, but they're wonderful shades. Okay, I might even add some of these tones to the background to soften in some places the grays that I put in the tree line. There we go. Yes, kitty. You hear my kitty in the background. There we go. So this is a good beginning, and I will continue to add more to this painting. But I just wanted you to see how you can build up from pan pastels and start a beautiful landscape and then add the stick pastels to it. So I'll see you guys again. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Keep painting.